Hello everyone, today's story is Andy Shane and the Pumpkin Trick. Let's go. 1. Trapped. So Andy Shane, said Granny Webb, which pumpkin shall we choose for our jack-o'-lantern this year? Andy stepped back to take a good look at the pumpkins he and Granny had grown. Should he pick a big, fat, round pumpkin or a tall, shiny pumpkin? They all seemed to say, "Pick me, pick me." "Hello there!" shouted a voice. Granny Webb and Andy Shane looked up. Dolores Starbuckle was walking down the path, waving a white envelope in her hand. Andy dived onto his belly between rows of pumpkins. Granny laughed. "Too late, Andy Shane. You've definitely been spotted." "Andy Shane," called Dolores as she approached, "you forgot your invitation at school." Dolores' birthday was in 2 days. So was Halloween. "I wouldn't want you to forget my party," said Dolores, "and I know that you will need time to think about my present." "Oh, we wouldn't have forgotten," said Granny Webb. "I promised your mother I would help out this year." Andy looked up at Granny Webb. How could she? Now he was really trapped into going. "Wow!" exclaimed Dolores. "Did you and Granny grow all these pumpkins, Andy Shane?" "Yep," Andy said. "We sure did." "You're lucky," said Dolores. "We bought a pumpkin at Galleries of Nature, but someone came along and smashed it last night." "Someone smashed your pumpkin?" asked Andy. "Why would they do that?" Granny Webb shook her head. "Such a waste. Come inside, Dolores, and help us make pumpkin muffins for your birthday. Then you can tell us all about those tricksters." The minute Dolores entered Andy's house, she began poking around. She picked up a jar of marbles from the kitchen counter. "Whose are you?" Whose are these?" she asked. "Mine," said Andy. "I like the big marble at the bottom." "Ouch! And look at this sparkly one here," said Dolores. "Will you play marbles with me sometime?" Andy didn't know what to say. "Tell us more about the tricksters," said Granny, mixing up the muffin battle. "As soon as it got dark, they smashed all the pumpkins on our street," said Dolores. "Did anyone catch them?" asked Andy. "Nope," said Dolores. "No one heard them." "We will have to give you another pumpkin, then," said Granny Webb. When they returned to the pumpkin patch, Dolores charged over to the biggest, fattest one. "Isn't this the best pumpkin?" said Dolores as she picked it from the bin. It did seem to be the best one, but then Andy noticed a rounder, jollier pumpkin. None and another that was more orange than the last. They are all the best, he thought. Great, said Granny Webb. As soon as the muffins are done, I will drive you and your pumpkin home. Can Andy come too? Sure, said Granny Webb. He can stay and help me get ready for my party, said Doodles. Get ready for your party? Said Andy. It's 2 days away. It's never too early to prepare for a social event, noted Doodles. 2. Party plan. Doodles carried the pumpkin from Granny's truck to her front porch. She put it on the left side of the steps. We need to find its best side, Doodles said. She turned the pumpkin around and around. Perfect, she said finally. Let's get ready for the party. Andy made a face. He was definitely not showing his best side. First, they filled a big tub with water for apple dunking. Next, they hung strings from the rafters in the living room, strings that would hold powdered donut. Then they began blowing up balloons, and Andy had blown up 13 balloons. He got an idea. Let's set a trap, he said. Don't be silly. What would we need a trap for? Asked Doodles. To trap the tricksters, exclaimed Andy. I bet they will come back for your new pumpkin. They will? Asked Doodles. It's the best, said Andy. You said it yourself? Doodles thought for a moment. I suppose we should figure out a trap, she said, picking up her chipboard and pen. It's always good to plan ahead. Andy couldn't believe his luck. Catching the tricksters was his idea of fun. Let's build a cage and hang it out an upstairs window, he said. Then when the trickster came up the steps, Doris stopped writing. We don't have any metal to build a cage with, she said. Oh, suddenly. True enough. We can dig a big hole, he said, and cover it with sticks and leaves and grass and stuff. With a pumpkin smasher walk across the top, they will fall in the pit, and my father would never let us dig a hole in the yard, said Doris. She crossed out the second idea. We can hang a bucket of water from a string, said Andy, and when the tricksters are directly underneath. How do you know that the trickster will go directly underneath? Asked Doris. All right then, he said. You think of an idea. You will be Ghost, announced Doris. Ghost? Said Andy. Ghost. And when the tricksters come up on the porch to steal the pumpkin, we'll rush out and scare them. No trap? Asked Andy. It is trap, said Doris. It's just a different kind of trap. Andy wasn't sure about her plan, but he didn't have a better one. Andy and Doris went to search for sheets. You can wear this, said Doris. It has flowers on it, said Andy. My mom doesn't have any plans light sheets, said the dwarfs. We can be the ghost of the gardeners, a garden's ghost that scare anyone who messes with the glories of nature. Oh, brother, said Andy. Not so glorious ghost. Andy and Doris huddled under the porch. It seemed as if they had been down there forever, waiting for it to get dark. Andy pulled a marble out of his pocket. Wow, whispered Doris. I've never seen one that glows. This is my lucky marble, said Andy. May I hold it? Doris asked. Just then, Andy and Doris heard footsteps coming up the whole walkway. Doris picked out from under the steps and gave Andy the thumbs up. Thumbs up. They pulled the sheet over their head. Oh, Doris moaned. Andy followed her out from under the porch. Oh, he groaned. What's that? Said one of the tricksters. Whoosh! Doris yelled. Andy couldn't see where he was going. He tripped on the hem of his sheet and fell face down. The trickster doubled over laughing. Ouch, that scary ghost, one of them said. Then they grabbed a pumpkin, smashed it on the ground, and took off running. Stop messing with our pumpkins, Doris shouted. They are glories of nature. Andy untangled himself from his sheet. What a stupid idea this was, he thought. Then he saw Doris kneeling over her smashed pumpkin. He was crying. 2 pumpkins in 2 days, she sniffed. That evening, Andy Shane pushed his meatball from one side of his plate on the other. You look like I served you porcupine stew instead of your favorite supper, said Granny Webb. I still need to think of a present of Doris, said Andy, carrying his plate over to the sink. Oops, he said. Marble bounced all over the kitchen floor. Andy took a step and stumbled on a marble, and then another. His arms flailed in the air, but he couldn't keep his balance. He slid to the floor. Ah, he said. This has been the worst day ever. Have a nice trip. See you next fall, Granny said, laughing. She was like that, always turning tragedy into fun. Andy had to laugh too. Then he started to collect all the marbles that had lured from the kitchen counter to the front door. That's when he got a great idea for tricking the trickster. Granny Webb carried the muffins while Andy Shane cried, I carried the roundest pumpkin to Doris. Starbuckle's front door. Why, a spider and a fly have arrived, Mrs. Starbuckle said. We're a Grandma's Toller, Lucy, and a Musca domestica, said Granny Webb. She knew all the fancy names for bugs. Is that my present? Dorals asked Andy. Andy turned pink. It's a part of it, he said. You have to wait for the last. Come dunk for apples, then, said Dorals. Andy followed Dorals to the top full apple dunking and to the strings for donuts machine. Then Dorals took Andy to the haunted loom to put his hands in a bowl full of eyeballs. Ah, said Peter and Mindy. Said Andy Shane. Crunchy. How did you know they were grapes? Asked Dorals. Starbuckle. Andy just smiled. He didn't tell her that Granny Webb had played a trick on him last Halloween. When the party was over, Andy Shane and Granny Webb stayed to help clean up. Suddenly they heard a noise on the porch. Shh, said Andy. It's the tricksters. Well, I am not going to let them get my pumpkin again, said Dorals. No, wait, Andy said. Watch. Granny Webb came into the looms and joined Andy and Dorals at the window. Andy felt like a soda pop can that was about to burst. One of the tricksters looked up and saw the three of them peering out. He grabbed the pumpkin and turned to run. At that moment, the bottom of the pumpkin fell out. Hundreds of marbles rolled down the porch steps. Ah! Let's get out of here! The trickster shouted. Andy Shane, you tricked the tricksters! Exclaimed Dorals. She scooped the marble into a plastic bag and handed it to him. Andy smiled. He gave the bag back to Dorals. Happy birthday, he said. This is the second part of your present. Really? Said Dorals. They are all for me? Yep, said Andy. That's half of my collection. I kept the other half so we could play marbles together. You will play marbles with me? Asked Dorals. Andy nodded. Tomorrow? Sure, said Andy. This has turned out to be a great Halloween, Dorals said, and a great birthday. Andy Shane had to agree. Thank you for the watching. Bye bye.